Welcome into this Five Clubs conversation. We are joined today by one of the great stars in golf, Justin Thomas, winner of two majors, most recently the 2022 PGA Championship, and a two-time Ryder Cup member, a partner of Tiger Woods in the President's Cup. We're grateful that Justin Thomas is joining us. Well, Justin, can't thank you enough for joining this Five Clubs conversation. Let me start off by asking you, what was the better feeling and the better celebration, your first PGA Championship or your second?
As weird as it is, I think that the second PGA Championship was a better feeling. I definitely had more better celebrations for the first one, but we still have a lot of year left. I'll probably wait till the off season to celebrate a little better.
Well, what did the celebration look like in the first one?
The first one, I mean, it was very similar in terms of night of, to where you don't do anything like you do. I mean, I had probably 3 or so hours of media, and flew home. I was exhausted. But in the off season, I had some fun. I was able to take the Wanamaker to Tuscaloosa for an Alabama game. Took it home, the trophy home, was able to, drink out of it with some buddies. I actually did that a couple weeks ago, so that was nice to do again. But yeah, you just kind of do some stuff here and there.
Well, you've won so many tournaments. What's the difference in the feeling of winning a PGA Tour event versus winning a major?
Yeah, it is. It's quite a bit different, and just the sense, I think it's so easy to put so much more pressure on yourself in a major, just with there only being 4 a year, and how life changing they are. It puts you in the history books. It's what all of us play golf for. So I think at least I know in times when I get there, when people get there, it's just you want it so much more, especially once you come toward the, near like the end of the year, end of the season. Now it's like we had the U.S. Open, now we have one left, and we're done until April again. So you just want them so bad that it makes it even harder. And I think that's why you see, a very select, I guess, handful of guys that always kind of seem to make their way up to the top, because everybody else does most of the work for them.
Well, golf is such a difficult game. It can be physically, but certainly mentally. For a week, and you guys travel so much. You're almost like traveling salespeople in the amount of time you're away. In a regular week, when do you arrive at a tournament, and what is your off time like when you're not on the course preparing or at the range?
Yeah, so I'd say usually we'll get there like a Monday night kind of thing, Monday afternoon. It differs in terms of coming off of an off week versus playing back-to-back weeks, depending where you're going or just the setup of where you're at. We rent houses a lot that I'll share with guys or whatnot, but if I'm playing that week before, I'll get in Sunday night, maybe Monday morning. But when you get in Monday, it kind of use that Monday as a travel day, recover, just kind of rest and whatnot. But I'm usually a pretty early riser. I don't sleep in. So because of that, I go to bed early. And those Tuesday, Wednesdays, I like to get up pretty early and get my work done. Hopefully by noon, 1 o'clock, something like that. Sometimes I'll play 9 in the afternoon, but then we have the Pro-Am on Wednesday, and, I'm balancing, I want to see my physio to kind of get some treatment maybe beforehand, or just make sure I'm loosened up, and then I'll go practice, go play 9, have lunch, and then go see physio again, maybe work out in the afternoon. So I think a lot of it is very time management, because it's very easy to sit out there for a long time and just wear yourself out. And I've probably become a lot better at more quality versus quantity when it comes to practice. So it's just not necessarily a certain time frame, but just kind of work until I feel like I got done when I needed to.
How about during the week? How do you unwind in your off time? Like, what do you do to recharge or to get away from thinking about golf all the time?
Just relax. I mean, my fiance and my dog will come with us quite a bit. Like I said, we'll share houses with the Spies quite a bit, and they have a little one. So Sammy, their baby, keeps us pretty entertained in the afternoons and the evenings. But no, it's just watching TV, watching movies. You know, if we're in a place that's got some cool surroundings or whatnot, whether it's the beach or dog park, something like that, like just like you said, it's such a grind, and we're around golf so much that the opportunities that you have away from it, you almost kind of, or I feel like I almost need to like separate the two of like when I'm on the golf course, maybe I'm JT, I'm the golfer, but then when I'm away, I need to be a different person and use that time to unwind.
Well, who are some of the guys you mentioned? Jordan Spieth. Who are some of the guys you've shared housing with for tournaments?
So we share with Ricky and his family a good bit. I mean, I'm at that stage of my life where all my friends are having babies now, so the the house sharing situation has changed a little bit because of having rooms for the kids, and then if some of them have nannies or whatever. So it's the Rolodex of players has shrunk, but like to stay with Duff a good bit. I mean, share with Patrick Cantlay some, Kevin Kisner a couple times. I mean, it's not really. I mean, it works out well in terms of an expense, like you're splitting a house or whatever. But it's. I feel like we do it more for just the hang. You know what I mean? Like it's such a grind, and for us to kind of come back and just hang out and just be dudes is it makes it the weeks a lot more enjoyable.
All right, who's the messiest roommate?
Mm. I mean, I don't really even think I can say any because for the most part, their wives are coming with them. And if they leave stuff behind, they're picking up after them. So they don't even give them the opportunity to be messy.
Well, if you can't name one, that probably means it's you.
That's a good point.
Are you clean or messy?
I'm clean. I'm organized. I like stuff. I'm kind of one of those guys for the most part. When I get there, I like to unpack right away and kind of get everything very organized and in particular and where it's at. I mean, my fiance might say differently. I would like to say I'm pretty clean, but I would just say like anything, it just goes in spurts.
How about cooking? Who cooks, or do you guys just have things brought in or cook for you?
We're very lucky. We're this chef who is a chef at a Floridian, a course down here. He was there for a long time, and we got to know him through that. He's from England and originally started. We bring him over to the Open Championship because love Scotland, Ireland, England, but the food isn't exactly the best over there. So we brought him in the sense of making it a little easier for us and just being able to eat some stuff that we like, and he knows his way around the UK a little better than we do. And then he stopped working at the Floridian, and it just worked out to the sake of we could use him a little more. So we bring him on the road quite a bit, and I mean he's more of a friend than he is someone who works for us. So we enjoy hanging with him, and we're very lucky. I mean, if they don't, then the girls will sometimes cook. I know my fiance is a great cook. Allison, Ricky's wife, is an unbelievable cook. Same with Jordan's wife. So we're very lucky. If we don't have them, then we have the girls to look out for us.
Now, you mentioned Jordan's baby. Have you changed a diaper for him yet?
I haven't. I'm really putting that off as long as I can. I figured when that time comes for me, that can be my first. But until then, I'm not into that.
Now, you mentioned you're engaged, and so when you get married, have you figured out things you might have to change to cohabitate and make it work out?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm going to. It's just a part of life, and I think that's something. Honestly, it took me a little bit of growing up just to realize. I think it's easy, especially in the game of golf, just to being such an individual sport and being so independent that you quite often do what's best for you. It just because it's just kind of how it's how the game is in terms of I need to go out and practice and make sure I'm ready for this. And it's like, look, I miss a lot of my friends' weddings, a lot of my friends' parties, a lot of opportunities being able to hang out and do cool things. But it's like, to me, golf is my it's my life and I take it very seriously and I want to be great at it. But at the same time, I understand I'm going to have to adjust and things are going to change. But it goes back to what I said earlier, where I'm just going to, it'll be a lot more of a quality kind of practice sort of thing to where I'll do what I need to do to be the best husband first. And then, but the golf is always going to, Jill knows that. That's why we get along so well, is she knows that golf is very important to me. And me playing good golf is probably going to equal a happier Justin.
Well, my biggest adjustment was one, bathroom habits, and two, pillows on the bed. I don't understand pillows on the bed, but I stopped complaining about it after the first year.
Yeah, man, the pillow I'm with you on the pillow thing. It's a lot. And I mean, this probably isn't going to help my case for the whole clean messiness thing, but like the whole and making the bed. I mean, like Jill's been gone this weekend. Like I'm not making the bed. I'm going to get back in it at night or in the afternoon. So like, what's the point of me making it? So I got to redo it. And all the pillows, like I'm definitely not going to do that. So figure it's just best to kind of have them organized and where they would be when she likes it, and then maybe I'll make it before she comes home.
Yeah, I'm not into taking 20 pillows off the bed before I go to bed. I can't figure that out, but I let it go pretty quickly. So you grew up the son of a PGA professional, and obviously your dad, Mike, has been very influential on your golf career, getting started in golf, all that. What influence was your mom?
My mom was a massive influence. I mean, she used to took me to all my tournaments. My dad was busy, being a head pro and then working for the PGA. He was gone traveling a lot for that. So my mom and I have spent I can't even fathom the amount of time we've spent together in a car driving to Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Tennessee, all these kind of places in the Midwest that I played a lot of junior tournaments. And then once the amateur circuit started, driving to Alabama, driving to Florida, it's what we did. And I was very lucky to have an extremely great support system in both my parents. But my mom she has logged a lot of miles walked on a golf course, and she's seen a lot of golf shots.
How were your parents when you were coming up in the junior circuit and being really competitive? When you would play a tournament, did you get a lot of feedback, or were your parents more supportive and good job, Justin, and left you alone to do your thing?
They're very, very supportive and just kind of let me do my thing. I mean, you see it all the time in sports, and it's sad and it's a bummer to see. Again, I'm not at that stage in my life, so I don't know what it is. But obviously, you want what's best for your child. So you're basically just how involved the parents get sometimes and how hard they are. It's not like this 10-year-old wasn't trying to shoot whatever he shot that day. He wasn't trying to make a triple, but he or she wasn't trying to make a triple bogey on that hole. It's just that's what happened. So and I think they saw how hard some parents were on their children, and they knew that they didn't want to do that to me, and they were always they made it very well known that they're going to love me the same if I shoot 67 or 77. And honestly, that's probably a big reason why I kept playing, because they made it fun, made it enjoyable, and I wanted to do it. I never felt like I was doing it because they wanted me to do it. I was doing it because I wanted to do it.
I remember your college coach saying that one of the things your dad did for you was make playing the most important thing rather than, technique, banging balls all the time, that he wanted you to play and you were more focused on playing. Can you expound upon that and why that's important?
Yeah, it is. And I think it's a lot of it is, I mean, with my dad being busy working all day, I mean, I spent a lot of time hitting balls and a lot of time, just chipping and putting, just because I would kind of do that while he would work. And then we'd go play 9 holes at 7 or 8 o'clock when he was done with work before dinner kind of thing. But yeah, once I was kind of basically old enough to go out on my own somewhat, or I'd go out and play with friends at the club or whatever it may, or I'd go play by myself at some point. But it's just how you learn to score. You learn to compete, challenge myself. I mean, I remember, I thought one of the best things my dad did for me is kind of advised that I play the back tees with him, or the men's tees. And I was not near long enough to be able to do that, but it taught me how to score. It taught me how to get the ball in the hole. It taught me how to manage my way around a golf course. And I feel like that was just so big. I mean, I wasn't hitting greens in regulation. I wasn't able to reach but half the holes. So it just put an emphasis on learning how to play golf as opposed to golf swing, like you said.
You remember the first time you beat your dad?
I don't. Neither one of us do. It's pretty sad, but might be the only father son playing golf combo that doesn't remember that, but neither one of us do.
So it wasn't that big of a deal for you?
Apparently not. You would think I would remember it, and as competitive as we were, and as much as we played, or maybe my dad knows and he just doesn't want to tell me. Maybe that could be what it is too.
Well, you mentioned competitive, and you're clearly very competitive. Was there ever a time when you were coming up in the game where your competitive nature got the best of you and you had to figure out how to manage it?
Like in terms of making a fool out of myself, kind of
Well,
thing.
not so
Or
much that, but just what
yeah,
that'd be a good story too if you got one of those. But just the idea that trying to get out of your own way and let stuff go that you wanted in order to become a better
for
player,
sure.
become a better winner.
I would say that that kind of stuff happened more so at the professional level. I was very fortunate to be very successful and win a lot of junior tournaments. And I mean, no offense to Kentucky, but the depth of golfers in Kentucky is a little different than Florida or Texas or California. So it was like I was playing against three or four kids pretty much each week or each tournament. And then, I started playing in some international stuff and I was still doing well and winning there. So it almost like it definitely became a norm for me and felt like I should do that. But then obviously once you go to a higher level, it becomes harder to win. And I think expecting more out of, I mean, there's nothing wrong with expecting a lot out of yourself. I just think that being realistic though at the same time and playing, wanting to win all these tournaments and almost trying too hard definitely got in my own way. But I did, but I did at a junior tournament finish second, and I refused to go up and get the trophy. My mom was not very happy with me about that.
Is there a difference, Justin, in between knowing how to play at the highest level and knowing how to win? And have you been able to identify some of the reasons why, if there is?
100%. I think to win consistently or win more than a handful of times or whatever. Yes, like you can get fortunate, and obviously you still have to do a lot of right things, and you have to and hit the right shots, make the putts, whatever, to win once or twice. But in my opinion, win four, five, six plus times, you clearly know how to do something, or the right things to do. And there's a lot of guys on tour that are extremely talented, extremely good players, but just haven't necessarily won at the highest level yet to know what to do, or I should say know what not to do. And I think that was the biggest thing for me is figuring out what not to do. I think I always tried to do more than I needed to, when in reality, it's like I should just have trust and faith in my own abilities and game, to where I should just go play golf and let it happen as opposed to trying to make it happen. And there's definitely times where you have to take shots on, or you have to maybe be a little bit more aggressive to try to make something happen. But for the most part, I've just tried to get into just go play golf and hopefully find yourself there and see what happens.
Aside from trying to pull off the hero shot as opposed to the safe shot, what's an example of what not to do that you've eliminated?
Um, I think the middle of rounds is so important. I mean, there obviously it's all important on a Sunday or over the course of the week, but I think it's very easy. And what I've gotten better at is, being maybe like on a Sunday, being like three back on like number 7 or 8. And then you're looking at it and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I got to make like 6 birdies coming in to have a chance. And it's like, no, like it's a big difference of being three back and in third or fourth place and being three back and in like 11th place. I mean, if you only have a couple, like that was what I had going for me at the PGA. I was 7 back, but I only had 5 guys or something in front of me. So, or 6 guys, whatever it was. So I just, it's just law of averages. Like everybody's not going to play well. And that, like, I hate to give Brooks credit, but his interview a couple of years ago was pretty spot on about majors, about, you're just trying to kind of beat 25, 30 guys each major each week, because the rest just kind of takes care of itself, if you will. And I've been in that group of, or that majority of people that have taken care of themselves, putting themselves out of the tournament. But I like to hope I've been there enough now to where I can stop doing that.
In coming up through junior golf and through college, I mean, there's so many great players and so few of you make it on the PGA Tour. It's really remarkable when you consider just the accomplishment of playing on tour. Is there a player or players that you coming up through college had a tough time beating or couldn't beat that didn't make it, that really surprised you, saying, man, this guy should be up with us?
Yeah, I mean, two of my teammates, my college teammates, Corey Whitsett and Bobby Wyatt, were two of the best players in the world. I mean, Bobby Wyatt shot 57 in the state junior in Alabama. Corey Whitsett won the state junior, won all these big amateur tournaments and junior tournaments. I mean, they were 100. They were can't miss 100%. And it was like it wasn't, are they going to play on tour? It's how many times were they going to win and how many years were they going to play on tour? And I mean, they it just, the golf happened. They had a couple bad years, and Bobby, I had his card for a year. Corey played in some handful of events and got some sponsor exemptions and went through the Corn Ferry a little bit, but it's just one of those things where they didn't necessarily play well in Q school, and a couple of times when they needed to, and then all of a sudden the doubt, the self-belief goes away. And I mean, they both have not played professional golf for 2 or 3 years now. They've stopped at least. And it just was like, they didn't enjoy it. It wasn't the same anymore, and they weren't having the success. And it was just like, why be miserable trying to do this when I could be happy doing something else? But those two guys were really, really good. I was shocked to see that.
When you're playing in a tournament, the pairing that you have, if you're playing with somebody you really like and know really well, do you think you play better, or would you rather play with somebody you don't care for and don't know that well? What's the preference there?
It's very tough, and I'm not super one way. I mean, I definitely would rather play with someone I like to play with than someone I don't like to play with. Like, people you don't like to play with, to me, like, it's not that fun, because there's a reason you don't like to play with them. It's either because they're slow, or they're just annoying, or whatever it is. And so yeah, I never want to play with someone I don't like playing with. I'm fine with like a kind of an in between. I've won tournaments not really knowing or talking to the guy I play with on Sunday that much, just because sometimes you can get in your own little zone and just go about your business. But I've had some really good rounds with some friends too. So I think friends is probably better, as long as you know how to handle it and not get too unfocused, kind of thing.
Is it better to play with someone who's knocking pins down and having their best day, or what happens when you're playing with somebody who's not playing well? Does that affect you?
There's definitely a thing about, like, group momentum or lack of. And I think you'd rather be playing with someone that's playing well, because you can kind of feed off of it and maybe get something going yourself. But I mean, there's nothing worse than when you're in a threesome the first 2 days and like all of you are over par through 10 or 11 holes, and you're looking at each other like, this sucks. Like, what are we doing? Like, the crowd, like, people are starting to leave. They're like, I've had enough watching these guys just chop it around here. And it's like, you're hitting it close. You can't make a putt, and the lid just won't go off the hole for any of you guys. And that's a pretty helpless feeling.
All right, you got a lot of friends on tour. I have to think there are some practical jokes that go on. Give me the best practical joke you've played or has been played on you since you've been on tour.
Jordan had my car not towed, but moved from a parking lot my rookie year. That was a pretty good one, because I parked in his parking spot at the Phoenix Open.
How long did it take you to find it?
Well, he was playing. I mean, it was brutal, because he was in a pro-am, so he didn't have his phone. So like, I'm stuck. I'm like, dude, I get that it's funny and everything, but like, I gotta go home. Like, this is miserable. So that kind of pissed me off. That one actually did. But the thing about him is I can't really prank him anymore because he overreacts like that, and he'll go like so far over the top the other way. So it's just you can't really do it.
Did you ever get
Tiger's
him?
kind of well, I did something to him first. I forget what it was, and that's what he got me back. And Tiger's the same way. You can't prank him because like he had these. We used to work with the same physio, and I was waiting for him on the table, and he had just some slides, like some not flip flops, but just the sandals, and it was were sitting there on the table while he was getting treatment, and I was sitting there waiting for him to finish, and I grabbed his slide and whatever, he just had these Nike slides, and I just put like to Tiger, thanks for being my biggest fan, and I signed it, and and then the next day when I got done with my round, I had shaving cream in all of my shoes. So I was like, that's nice. I mean, I literally just signed one of your slides that you can get countless amounts on for free, and you put shaving cream and ruined all of my shoes. Like, that does not seem like a fair trade at all.
It sounds like mutual assured destruction.
Yes.
Speaking of Tiger, why did your partnership with Tiger Woods work so well in the President's Cup?
Well, it definitely worked for one because he was playing some of the best golf I've seen him play. So that was I definitely rode my horse that first day in the best ball. But I don't know. I mean, we get along. We have very similar, I guess, ways of kind of going about things or thinking about things. I mean, obviously, he's been very helpful to me and just trying to better myself and my game and everything. But I don't know. It just, we kind of talked about it and it made sense. And, we felt like with both of our strengths matching up or kind of filling in the pieces of the other person. And we're both really competitive. So I think it was definitely just a good combination of a bunch of different things.
When you play in a President's Cup or especially the Ryder Cup, which seems like it has a different aura to it, do you get nervous in those situations?
Oh yeah, I think it kind of like wanes off a little bit. I mean, the first tee shot of a team event is so nerve wracking. It truly is, and you have so much adrenaline, and it's like you can hear a pin drop. I mean, it's crazy. But and then as you play, like anything, you kind of get comfortable and you get going, and it's just then it's you're playing. I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's such an exciting and amazing feeling, and it goes so fast. And then like I've had times where you have a 36-hole day and you're going nonstop and you're just so jacked up and like you're laying in bed and I'm just staring at this, like my adrenaline just won't wear off kind of thing. So it's such a unique and incredible week. Both those team events are.
When you're playing in the Ryder Cup, there seems to be this narrative out there that the Europeans get along better than the Americans do, and that's why they have success. Do you see, after having been through it a couple times, do you see anything there? Is there any truth to that?
I don't know. I think one thing that I 100% think that they have going for them is, look at their team has been very similar over the last 20 years, and I mean, that's a big deal. The camaraderie, it's just, they understand the team, and not that we don't. And I think that's what this kind of new group of young guys is great at, is that we understand it's team first. It's not individuals first. It doesn't matter about you. You win as a team, you lose as a team. It's your buddies out there that you're going to battle with, and you're going to do everything you can to go get a point. And then when it's done, you're going to be there for them and they'll be there for you, kind of thing. And it is very unique and very tough to sometimes flip the switch of going from individual nonstop for every week of the year. And then 1 year or 1 week, we got to get into that team and mindset and aspect. But like anything, I just think it's easier for some and harder for others. But I thought we did a pretty good job of it last fall.
Yeah, I would say so. So more nerve-wracking being Tiger Woods' partner, being Nick Saban's partner in a match.
Probably Tiger's partner, because I know that if I'm playing in a game with Coach Saban, we pretty much have that thing won before we start.
Is that more picking the opponent or him picking you as his partner?
Um, it's a mixture of things. I mean, we're always partners, but I think we're going to make sure that the strokes align and who we're playing with. I mean, I'd also like to think that the people he plays with, I should be able to beat anyway. So we have a pretty good track record. I'll say that.
Well, he is a great guy, but he still scares the shit out of me. Like,
Oh yeah,
does he frighten you?
I don't know if frighten's the right word, and I don't know why I've gotten past that point, but yeah, there's just, he's just one of those guys, that where it's just whenever he's talking, you stop what you're doing and you listen because it's just, it is. I remember asking him some things last year when we were on a trip together, and it's just, that you start getting into it. I'm just like, coach, you're good. Like, this isn't a press conference. Like, it's just me. We're fine.
What have you learned anything from Nick Saban that you've applied to your golf career?
Absolutely. I think obviously he's so process oriented and so in the moment oriented. And that's something I'm trying to get better at and continue to get better at. But it's the hardest thing for me to do is when you go to a tournament and, hasn't happened often, but you're the favorite to win, or everybody feels like you should win kind of thing. And it's so unique for them because every single football game they play, they should win and they're expected to win. And getting those guys, getting 17, 18, 19-year-old kids to be on board with they still have to work hard and be disciplined and outplay the opponent when they're superior to the other team, like that's just so hard. And I don't think he gets enough credit for that. I mean, he gets a lot of credit, don't get me wrong, but just to get kids at that age on that mindset and to be on board with that whole process thing. I think of what he says all the time of be where your feet are. I think of that a lot on the golf course because there's nothing I can do, about anything I did previously or ahead of me or other holes or what's going on with other guys. I can only control what's going on at that moment.
Yeah, be where your feet are is great as long as there's no shaving cream in your shoes.
That's a very good point.
So we'll get you out of here on this one, the 5 questions that I stole from Gary Williams. I saw you tweeting the KPMG tournament, the women's championship. If you could have trade swings with any women's golfer, which would you choose?
And there were some really, really good swings. I mean, the Corda sisters are both really good, and I can't pick one of them because the other one will get mad. So, so I'm gonna go with a combination of a Jess and Nelly. Maybe I'll take Jess's power with Nelly's accuracy, maybe to make both of them happy.
Yeah, mine would be any of them, but Nelly Corda would be number 1 on the list. All right, your favorite toy as a child?
Legos. I loved Legos.
When did you give them up? Like sophomore year at Alabama?
Yeah, just a couple years ago, really.
What would you build? Did you build anything impressive?
I don't think so. I mean, I was just more of like a, tear it apart, build it back up kind of thing. I didn't have any of the ones that, would take me 6 months and was like the size of, a table. It's probably more so my parents were probably smart in doing that because they knew that was going to be a nightmare. So they would kind of stick to the, maybe the couple day projects.
Yeah, my go-to was a big wheel as a kid. So favorite thing to binge watch, or the last thing you binge watched, I should say?
Favorite thing to binge watch. That's very, very mood dependent, I would say. I'm trying to catch up on Peaky Blinders right now. I haven't watched the new season yet, so I got to catch up on that.
You go subtitles with it or not?
Yeah, I have to.
Favorite thing to eat that's not on your chef's list to keep you healthy?
Well, favorite thing to eat and favorite thing to eat to keep me healthy.
No. That's not to keep you healthy. I want to go off the board on this one. Stuff you're not supposed. Favorite thing you're not supposed to eat.
I love pizza. I mean, pizza's just pizza and Mexican food I could live off of for sure. I just like food. What's
your go-to pizza?
Any kind of meat pizza. I'm not like a weird, toppings. But I used to, I'll eat cheese, but like I got to have some kind of topping on it. A good pepperoni or a good meatball pizza is pretty tough to beat.
If you couldn't play golf, what other sport would you want to pursue to the highest level?
I mean, it'd be a pretty short pursuing time because I'm just not going to be good at anything else. I mean, I like basketball a lot. I could never play remotely close to professional level. I played in middle school. I liked it. I don't know. That was probably the sport that I liked the most. But I think baseball, I could maybe give a shot.
Did you play other sports growing up?
I played all the stereotypical sports that little kids play. I played some indoor soccer, played some t-ball. I never played football because, I mean, look at me. Why would I play football? So I'll go with baseball.
Well, Justin, can't thank you enough for joining us on this Five Clubs conversation. Congratulations on all the success and more success in the future.
Thank you, dude. Always good talking to you.
Appreciate Justin Thomas taking the time to join us in this Five Clubs conversation, and appreciate you taking the time to join us. We'll see you next time.